We've got our new moon in Sidereal Aries. This week, we've got Pluto in retrograde. My friend, this is our Sidereal Astrology Forecast for the week of May 6th through the 12th. Hello, hello. Happy new week. Happy new moon. If you are new here, Danny Simuniz, glad you found us. I'm an intuitive astrologer and spiritual healer, helping you understand astrology so that you can use it in your life, business, and on your healing journey. My friend, let's get started on this journey. If you are into sidereal astrology, spirituality, being the best version of you, breaking free from the matrix, then be sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you are more of an audio person, you can listen to this podcast over on the Cosmic Mystic Podcast on all your favorite platforms. And for those of you on the podcast, if you want the visuals, come on over to the YouTube channel, Keeping It Real with Sidereal, and you can see all my funny faces and the charts. If you want to see the charts, come on over. So let's dive in, my friend, because we've got some things to talk about. Right. As you can see here, we've always look for our sun. So we've got our sun here right in Aries. So you can see we are in Aries still, my friend. We're at 22 degrees, which means we are at the very end of Aries season. In fact, we are going to move into Taurus next month. So this new moon, as you can see, the moon is right here, just moved into Aries on Monday the 6th. So you can see it's really close here. It will be conjunct on Tuesday evening in Central Time. It's about 10:22, I believe, p.m. So in Pacific, we're looking at an 8 in the evening. Eastern, we're looking a little late there at 11 o'clock. So we'll feel this energy overnight on Tuesday. All right, so let's talk a little bit about some of the things that we can see here with the sun. In particular, we've got that Saturn, right? That sextile to Saturn that we've had for a bit now. And this is, we talked about this last week, but this was that patience, perseverance type energy, really allowing us to kind of push forward with things, recognition, advancement, especially in the professional arena of our lives. So, like work and business. Leadership qualities really needing to come forward or even step forward during this time, feeling that extra responsibility and being able to step into that more so, which is great. I really love the energy of the sun and Saturn together. I was going to say Capricorn. Saturn does rule Capricorn. So energies are very similar. Now, our next one I want to look at is the sun conjunct Uranus. So we're going to advance this a bit here. And we're going to see Uranus pop in here on the 7th on Tuesday, which is actually going to influence our new moon on Tuesday evening. So we've talked about Jupiter and Uranus conjunction and how it's kind of changing some things up. We actually don't see Jupiter here any longer because it did start to move away from Uranus. It moved into Taurus, where we can see Uranus is still here in Aries. So when we talk about the sun conjunct Uranus, again, sun is our consciousness and Uranus is that unexpected energy. It's the rebel. It's wanting to shift things up that may be stuck or stale. So this is a time of, there's like an energy surge. I want to say splurge, an energy surge here, really bringing in some freedom and rebellion, just wanting some just some freedom and stuff, and just like to break free from whatever has been routine or boredom kind idea, like you're just wanting that urge to just like break free from this. And so we start here on the 7th, and this is all the way through the 18th of May. So we've got a couple of weeks here. We're going to feel that energy, open to higher vibrations, really some shifts or disruptions potentially in our day to day. Probably some unnecessary risks we're going to want to try to take. So I would be careful. We're really rebelling against authority here, right? Uranus is that planet that rotates on its belly. It rotates completely opposite than all the other planets, and it does its own thing. It is very inventive. And so we're really wanting to step into that energy more. So if you feel like you've been stuck in any way, this is a really great energy for us to kind of kick that up, break free from that, and express even bigger and better than maybe we have done in the past. All right. And then later this week, I want to show you, we do have, you saw the moon there, conjunct, moving away from that. We do have Jupiter coming in here on the 10th or the 11th, I should say. And that is because our sun is moving, right? Our sun is continuing to move. We can see it started at the beginning of the week at 22 degrees. We're here towards the end of the week at 27 degrees, right? It's moving along. And so when we get this conjunction here with Jupiter, there's that a very happy-go-lucky, good luck type energy really coming in, lots of optimism. So really seeing the cup as half full. A really good time to start new projects in the professional arena. In particular, expansion here is the word. It's the key. This transit is very much about expansion, relationships, wealth, your goals. It's like opportunities, like landing, that almost kind of seem like magic. And so this can really come into play for you. Now, I will say this, for many of us, this is going to be a great transit. Now, some of us, this isn't going to be the best transit, or we won't get the full expression of this because it is based on where it is falling in your natal chart, which is why I always recommend getting a reading from an astrologer just to make sure that you are very clear on where some of these transits are falling for you. Like our Uranus and Jupiter conjunction, where is that happening for you? In a moment, we're going to talk about the Pluto retrograde. Where is that happening for you? Later on, we'll have Saturn. Where is that happening for you? Because that'll give you specific information as to where this is happening in your chart, specifically in what area of your life and how this may influence you. So if you are interested in any of that, check the links down in the description box. I do a Cosmic Insights reading. It's my most popular reading where we'll look at this and kind of give you a good overview of what is going on in your chart, how the planets are affecting you based on what you're doing right now, because it might be the time for you to put the book out there. It might not be the time for you to put the book out there. It might be time for you to shift jobs. It might be time for you to start a new relationship. It might be time to heal that relationship with a family member or a friend. It just depends on where this is falling for you in your chart. Okay, so expansion with this this conjunction here. And what I like about this is because we have the supportive energy of Saturn here. Now, if this was a square or this was an opposition, that'd be another story. But because we've got the sextile here, it really is supporting for like this really long-term type change. So I really love this. It's going to be really beneficial, whatever you're stepping into. Again, if this transit is a good transit for you, really stepping into for the long term for you. All right, that is the transits I wanted to talk about for our sun. Let's go back to our moon this week. We'll talk a little bit about our new moon happening again on Tuesday. Okay. I do want you to see this really here really quick. Is you can see there's a lot of the planets are right up in here in this Aries and Pisces energy, right? We do still have Saturn over here in Aquarius and Pluto over here in Capricorn still. But we've got, look at this, we've got Neptune, Mars, we've got our North Node, Mercury, Chiron, all right here in Pisces. And then our moon just entering Aries here. And then we've got Venus, the sun and Uranus all in Aries. And then we see Jupiter moving here, just moved in here last week into Taurus. So, we've got this concentrated energy right up in here, which is really causing things to be a little bit slower in many aspects than they normally have been throughout the year. I don't know about you, but I know I definitely felt the Pluto retrogrades. If you're an empath or very sensitive to like a highly sensitive person, you may have felt this shift. My love and I both woke up, I think it was Saturday, and we're like, what the heck? Like, we just felt it. And I was like, oh, that's right. Pluto went retrograde. And we just really started to feel that energy. And it's just, it was a really deep energy. Plus, we've got the new moon here. So let's talk about where our moon is, and then we'll talk a little bit about our new moon that is happening on Tuesday. So we kick off our week, as I said, here in Aries, and we'll be in Aries energy until Tuesday, and it will leave Aries and move to Taurus on Wednesday. Just before it leaves, though, it is going to hit into our new moon. So our new moon, and let me go ahead and show you what that's going to look like here. Our new moon, let me move that over. Right here, you can see at 23 degrees. As I said, it's at the very end of Aries, 23 degrees, and it is still sextile that Saturn. So Saturn is definitely influencing as well as Uranus. So when we're looking at the energy of Uranus, right? Again, what did I say earlier? Disruptive, unexpected, excitement, really shifting things up, wanting to create more excitement in our life, more just like that zest for life. It makes me think of the essential oil lime, the zest for life. Like, it's just really invigorating. It wants to invigorate our life. So if things have become routine and boring, and you're doing the same thing over and over, you're around the same people all the time, it's like, let's shift this up. Let's go do something different. Because when we do something different, my friend, and I'm going to stop my share here for a second, because when we change our routines, when we change the habits that we have, when we change them, we allow ourselves, our perspective to open, because we're not used to seeing the same thing in the same place at the same time. Like, it's different. And it's like, oh, what is that? Right? You might not notice it consciously, but I can tell you your subconscious gets invigorated with that. You take a different path. It's having to work different neural networks in your mind, right? It's changing things up for you. And I know many people don't like change, but let me tell you, if you go to networking events and you sit by the same person every single time, or the same seat, or the same part of the room. I used to do this in college. I got so used to sitting in the same seat all the time, right? It was like I went into class and I always sat at the second row, second seat back. It was like, that's where I would be, second row, second seat back. Always that. I always had to sit up front, not because I was a good student, although I think I was a pretty decent student. It was because I would get distracted. So if I had to sit in the back, if I was late and I had to sit in the back, I would get distracted by everybody and I could not focus in. So I always had to sit like in the front. I hated sitting in the front row, but sometimes I did. But generally speaking, I would always sit there. And I was a psychology major. So I had a professor once bring that into our awareness that, like, do you sit in the same seat, in the same seat here every single time you come to class? And I was like, yeah. Duh, right? And you even know, like, oh, that person sits there, so I don't want to sit there, right? Like, you just know. And then, I thought about my other classes and I was like, yeah, I sit in the same seat every single time. And she was like, let's just do an experiment this week, right? Let's sit in different seats in different places and see what happens. And it was amazing to me how it disrupted other people's patterns as well as my own. So I decided to sit on the other side of the room, a little bit further back, because I still didn't want to be too far back, but I sat a little bit farther back and I was like, interesting. It's harder for me to see the board here. Or there were times where I was like, oh, this is way better. Like, the air conditioning is here, right? Or I could see the board much better, or the lighting was here, or I noticed one time I was sitting next to a window and I kept looking outside the window into what was going on outside, and so it wasn't a good seat for me because I was distracted. But as I did this, it also distracted other people, and so whoever usually sat in that seat would just like kind of look at me weird, like, what are you doing in my seat? Nobody ever said anything, which is the really interesting part. But it was that awareness of like, wait, and they'd like look around like, did I get the seat wrong? So interesting, my friend. I highly recommend you try it if you're in school, or if you're in, you go networking, or if you go to a meeting and you always sit in that same seat. Try a different seat. Like my background, I don't know if you noticed, it's different. I changed it up. I even shifted the angle of my desk because I wanted a new perspective. I was getting tired of looking at the same old thing. This is Uranus energy, my friend. All right, let's keep going. So, this new moon is really inviting us to look at things differently. And what I love about it is this is probably my favorite new moon of the year, because it's the new moon in Aries. So in sidereal astrology, we're looking at the new moon in Aries as we're about to enter Taurus season. And I always think of this as this is the first new moon of the zodiacal year. And so we're in Aries. We are about to move into Taurus. So it's that initiative energy with Aries. It's the beginning of the year. And then we've got Taurus season, which is like to bring it on down, to bring it into material, to bring it into reality, to really plant those seeds. I always see this new moon as planting the seeds for the year. So what is it that you are planting the seeds? And with this particular moon, with the shift of unexpected energy, or that shifting energy of Uranus with that sextile to Saturn here, it's what are we changing, right? How are we approaching things differently? How are we allowing ourselves to open up our perspectives and our awareness as it relates to us planting the seeds for the new year? My friend, I love this new moon. I'm excited to see what comes out of it. If you have set your intentions for the new moon, let me know what your intentions are down below. And don't forget, we always have a new moon sacred circle every single month online, so you can do it from anywhere. It happens generally on or around the new moon. This next one, again, is on May 7th, 6:30 p.m. Central. There's a link down below in the description box that you can find for that as well. All right, let's keep moving with our moon. And we'll see that this moon does move into Taurus here on Wednesday. So Wednesday and Thursday, our moon will be into Taurus. So as I said, we take that initiative Aries energy and then we plant our seeds with Taurus. Taurus is such a great energy for things like getting into work, like getting into things, the more meat of work, I would say. So this is finances, writing, emails, blog posts, content, creating content. For those of you that create content, scheduling things, whether that's trips, whether that's meetings. This would also be deep research. And when I say deep research, it's a little bit different, because there's research in air moons, there's research in fire moons, and then there's research in water moons, and they're all very different. This is like the body of the research. So it's like, I'll use a simple example of, we're planning a trip, probably to Cancun. We're not 100% sure yet, but probably sometime in September, late August, early September, going to Cancun. And so right now we are in the air energy of like ideas of like, we could go here and we could do this. We've looked at cruises, but then we also looked at a place where we'd like to go, or we've been before, and we're looking at that, and we're looking at prices, like which flights would be the best day to go. And so it's like a very high level, right, type of research. in the earth element research is when we really get into like, okay, picking the actual date, the flight, really getting into like the plan, like creating that schedule of like when we would fly in, so when we need to fly out, and booking the transportation, and the, you know, when we're going to arrive, like getting into that very detail oriented energy of the trip is when we would do we would do that. Now we could also then in the water researching energy, this is where we get to kind of more look at the activities maybe that we want to do while we're there. And so we might get deeper down into like the tours or the excursions maybe that we might want to go on depending on what we decide to do. So each one has a little bit of a different layer, and so we can use these research ideas in all of them. So, and if you're curious about more on how to use this, the moon as like a productivity or way of planning out how you do things, I definitely recommend Vanessa Corazon with Moon Site Planner. I learned all of that from her, and it's absolutely amazing. All right, and then the next one we have here, let me move that forward, is a Thursday. No, Friday, we move into Gemini. And so we'll be in Gemini from Friday all the way through Sunday. And so, as I said, Gemini is an air element. So this is more of the research of like the more of the surface level type researching. It's more of the brainstorming, thinking of ideas. Networking is really good during this time. Connecting with people is really good during this time. Teaching is really good during this time, like hosting a class during an air moon is really good, especially Gemini. And there's other moons too, but Gemini is a really good moon for that, which this will be. A quick task, though, is also something that you're going to want to do during this time. It's not the long, drawn out multi layers, right? Like if you're going to clean out your whole closet, that's something I did this weekend, but cleaning out your whole closet, you might not want to clean out your whole closet. Maybe you're just going to take one shelf of that and do it. This is multitasking, right? So you might be listening to a podcast while you're writing emails, while you also have, something else going on. I'm not a good multitasker. My love is an amazing multitasker, but this is that type of energy. Now, those of you entrepreneurs, those of you in business, this is a good time for like a flash sale, something quick that only lasts like a short, maybe 24 hours or 72 hours max. It's like a quick, like one and done type thing. All right, so that's where our moon's going to be this week. We're going to we follow our moon. Now let's go back to the beginning of the week, and I want to talk a little bit about Mercury and its conjunction here with Chiron. So Mercury has been conjunct Chiron, or has been moving into that energy for a bit now. Actually started back in April, beginning of April, I believe it was the 7th, and it goes until the end of this week, the 12th. However, it's exact right here on the 6th of May. And so just that reminder of like, some things may have been coming up over these past few weeks around your own wounds, your own trials and tribulations, maybe those things that you've kind of keeping hidden a bit, or maybe not have quite healed yet, or even maybe there's a new layer of them ready to be healed. So Mercury is here to kind of really bring those insights to you, for one, right? Because it deals with the thinking, but also being able to then share it. Some of you have some wounds that you are ready to share, right? We don't talk about our wounds when they're fresh, right? We talk about them when they have been healed, right? When they fully, and not even fully been healed, because I don't ever truly believe that you're 100% healed. I do believe that there are layers. And so there's like a layer of healing, right? A deeper healing maybe. And so this period right here, we're going to kind of hit that peak. And I want to say that because there could be some things that come up that you're like, wait, what, I thought I worked on this. Like, or it could be like, I'm ready to share it. And because of some other things that might be coming up, this might be that time where you're like, ooh, I'm ready to talk about that now. So we have that. And then the other one we have is at the very end of this week, I do want to show you, Mercury is going to be square Pluto. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about Pluto next, but we've got some deep thinking. This is really deep thinking. This is intense, deep interactions. If we look at researching here, this is where we're getting into the conspiracy theories. The extremism can happen here. So just be careful of that. With Pluto, things, every planet has two sides to it, right? Nothing is good or bad. It's just how it's used. And so with Pluto, we can see a lot of power, control, manipulation, jealousy type energy. But then on the same hand, we can also see us stepping into our power and communicating our power here with Mercury, expressing it, being able to naturally defend ourselves, right? Verbally, right? We're not talking about going to a physical, fist fight, but verbally, you might be able to outmaneuver somebody here. One of the things here is you want to be mindful of, as I said, things can be, nothing is good or bad, right? It's how it's used. In this particular one, though, our thinking can definitely go to the darker side. I know we just had May the 4th and, the dark side, right? And that's a whole other topic that we could talk about a whole other time, and my thoughts on that. But this idea of the thoughts and our thinking kind of going down that route. And so I just want to bring that into your attention, because there could be some of that where you're kind of having some trouble because it's going into like crisis type energy, and you're wanting to like control something even deeper, because we don't really have control over a lot, right? But the things we can control, like, right, we want to hold on as tightly as we possibly can. And right now, it might even be you're trying to hold on even tighter to the things that you have no control over. Okay, one of the last things I want to talk about. Well, actually, let's talk about, since we're talking about Pluto, and then we'll talk about the actual Pluto moving into retrograde. So this right here, this is coming to an end here on the 10th. So that was that really intense energy that was more goal focused and taking action and kind of stepping, having that focus, right? Being able to just focus. That energy is leaving. So I do want to let you know that energy is falling off here on the 10th. So let's talk about Pluto and its retrograde period. So Pluto did go retrograde. I have charts that say the 1st, I have charts that say the 4th. So we're going to say beginning of the month here, Pluto goes retrograde. This one right here says the 2nd, but it will be in its retrograde period all the way till October 12th. So all the way through to about the mid October. So, Pluto, when we're talking about Pluto, we are talking about death, rebirth, transformation, power. Okay. So when you think of those things, when Pluto goes retrograde, and I've said this about any planet that goes retrograde, it's a time to come inside. It's a introspection time. It's a time for things to get resolved, to review, right? To return to like revisit, reclaim, right? There's a lot of really good opportunity for healing during this period, and even more so with Pluto, because Pluto is that death and rebirth. It's that transformation energy. And so here, Pluto may be bringing forward from the subconscious, bringing forward our deep rooted fears, our guilty pleasures, things that are taboo, unresolved issues, and anything that we prefer to keep on the down low, that we prefer to keep hidden. Pluto will often kind of expose these things. Now, because this is more of an internal, not an external external time, because Pluto in the external period, right, when it's not in retrograde, it's very like, oh, things are coming out of the closet and the world is going to see them, right? Whatever the world is for you. Introspection, though, retrograde time, it's coming up here. It's coming up for you to look at. So this is why this is beautiful, because it's an opportunity for us to heal some of those things that are not really necessarily doing us any service, right? So there's aspects of ourselves that are nice and neat, bubbled up, right? They're nice and protected. Those are coming up. Those are sticking their heads out and like, look at me. Now, I will say this. I'm a firm believer, as somebody who works a lot with the subconscious and has worked a lot with the subconscious for years now, not only on myself, but with my clients. I know I want to say a fact here, but in my experience is that the conscious will only bring forward what it is that you are ready to work on, whatever it believes you are ready to handle. That is what will come forward. So don't ever worry about like how I'm going to be able to handle it. I don't know. Yes, you will. Yes, my friend, you are strong enough. You can handle, you're capable of much more than you even realize. So this is a really good time for purging, okay? Purging, which is why on Saturday, I decided to, not Saturday, yeah, Saturday morning, I decided to clean out my entire closet. It had been on my to-do list for a while. I kept telling my accountability groups, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to switch it out. I cleared it out. I'm going to post it on social so I can show you guys, but cleared it out. It was a purging. It was like getting rid of stuff that is no longer serving me, that is just taking up space. And that's in the physical realm. But I want you to think about the internal realm, the spiritual realm, the mental realm, the emotional realm. What are the things that are ready to be released, that are ready to be purged, that you're ready to let go of? Because Pluto is not here to just destroy things and remove things just to remove them. It's doing it so that we can create something new, that we can step even further into our path or onto our path in what that is for us. So some of the things that are going to come up collectively now, because remember, each planet affects us personally, but it also affects us as a collective. And because this is one of the outer planets, this is definitely more of a collective energy. And we've got like 5 months here. So we may see some things happen because we're talking about Capricorn. And if you all remember, Saturn moved into Capricorn, Jupiter moved into Capricorn in 2020, and Pluto was there as well. And so because of this, we could see some major political shifts, social revolutions, especially around the bigger corporations, government, those more like, stable. Well, I don't want to say stable because they're not all really stable, but the more of the founded or rooted systems, it's here to kind of take a different look. And so we might see some big shifts happening over these next 5 months. Now, I know we are in a election year, and so it's always really interesting to see how these things play out. But we've got quite a bit of erratic energy, let's just say, with Uranus and Pluto here in retrograde during this last 5 months into, election. So I just want to put that out there for you, my friend, because we may be seeing some things collectively, not only here in the US, but globally as well. So remember, if you want to know how this may be shifting for you personally, be sure to check out that cosmic insights reading. All right, my friend, I believe that wraps us up for our forecast for May 6th, 2024 to May 12th, 2024. My friend, I would love to hear if you enjoyed this video. Make sure to give it a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. If you are loving the channel, leave me a comment. Let me know if you're catching this on the podcast, please rate and review this podcast, follow it, subscribe. We would love to make sure that you don't miss out on any of the videos that come out or any of the podcast episodes that come out. We've got some really good podcast episodes coming out. I'm going to go out an interview coming out later this week with one of my good friends, Victoria Sexton, who makes amazing herbal teas. We have a great conversation, and we went in a bunch of different roads. So definitely want to check that out. And stay tuned for more here on the channel. My friend, have a wonderful week. Happy new moon. And as always, if you want to take a minute and close your eyes with me and just enjoy this moment, this time right here, and just take a nice deep inhale in of gratitude and love and release it. Let's do that again. Release that. And one more time, feeling that energy flowing down through your body. My friend, find peace this week. Much love to you. Bye.